There is this lecture called The Spirit of God by Neville Goddard. It's available on YouTube, in which he shares a very nice, I would say the best technique, the easiest technique, which is I remember when. And he shares the story of a person who had a cat of 15 years almost of age. You know, in cat years, that's an old cat. And this cat was scratching the furniture in the house for 15 years. That's a long time for a habit to form. It almost becomes a second nature to you. And we know that how hard it is to break habits. So this person, I guess, got a hold of Neville Goddard's teaching, and he applied the technique of I remember when, which is, what is it? It is planting a new memory into your so-called, you can say, subconscious mind, or the I am, or the Christ within, which is nothing but your deeper self. And you plant a new memory by saying something that makes you remember something that hasn't actually happened. What is a law of assumption? Law of assumption is, by the very definition, an assumption is a false statement about the world. And you make an assumption and then you build upon it, which is not true. So this person said that I remember when my cat was scratching all the furniture within the house. And when you say something like that, I remember when something was happening, that also implies that it is not happening anymore, right? For example, you can say, I remember when I was looking for jobs so frantically. What does this imply? That maybe, not maybe, it implies that you have a job now, and a good job. You could say, I remember when I was struggling financially. It shows or implies that now you are not struggling financially. So it's a very easy and general technique. Like, you don't even have to finish the sentence after that. I remember when something something, and that's it. Like, I remember when I was feeling so sick. That means that now you no longer feel sick. Now you feel healthy, right? So we are planting a new memory into our mind. And of course, in that story, the cat, it took only 3 days, just 3 days, for the cat to stop scratching furniture within the house. Mind you, a 15-year-old cat and a lifelong habit of scratching the indoors furniture, it stopped, and they had something in the backyard where it could go and scratch, because it's a cat's habit, they need to do that. And so it stopped doing something for 15 years within just 3 days of the owner making an assumption, making a new memory in their mind. And so Nawal goes on to saying that how can it be possible in a normal, natural, like, I'm sort of paraphrasing the way he was saying it, I'm paraphrasing that he says that how can it be possible except for the fact that the person found Christ or God within, right? And cats are not humans. He didn't give a lecture to a cat, like, holding an intervention for the cat that you should stop scratching everything within the house. I have a cat, and they don't give a F about what you feel about them or what you want them to not do. They do it, they don't care. So the only possible conclusion to this story is that the owner found the cause of the phenomena of life. What causes things to happen in this world, which is imagination. He applied the I remember when technique and remembered the cat differently. You have to understand, time is no thing, time is not a thing. The reason why our life is the way it is and it doesn't change very extremely, it goes on the similar themes of our life, is because we remember our past and we project it forward, right? We say, oh, my name is this, I come from this background, and this is my race, this is my education, so-called, and I'm therefore this is my education. I'm only capable of certain money, certain amount of wealth because I was poor or this. You see the story. You remember it every single day. It doesn't exist. Past doesn't exist. You don't go to some place in the past. You don't go to some future event. You project in your imagination, right? It's purely imagination. And recently I was really contemplating on the idea that the difference between my personality and who I really am, right? The I and I am. I is the ego, right? It has the story that I just told you. It has a bunch of memories, and from those memories and from those experiences, it says that, for example, Adeel cannot achieve this much in next 5 years because we don't have the capabilities, we have failed in the past, this, that, or the other, right? But that's the ego talking. It doesn't know. It does not know what's going to happen tomorrow. But it is so full of itself that whatever in fear, it holds complete faith in the negative consequence. In limitations, it holds complete faith. Even though we have not a clue what we are capable of or what's going to happen tomorrow. But ego has complete faith in its story, in its limitations, in its memories, so called. And so it projects the future from there, and it looks at the past and it bases its identity around the world and what it looks at, and then it makes false assumptions which are absolutely false. Absolutely false. How can it know that in 5 years what is my potential? It does not know. Nobody knows that, right? Except you know it in by believing it in, by imagining it. So you see, this I has this story and it has these memories, and a lot of our memories are kind of false because we remember it from a biased lens, and it's not accurate if we are really talking about objectivity. So, but we believe it, right? Ego believes it, and from there it forms this identity. Therefore, our life follows a similar trajectory and it does not change much from that. So when you say I remember when, ego might say that, oh, that didn't happen, you're lying to yourself. Then remind your I that from I am state that all that we are imagining is a lie, because so-called lie, because it doesn't exist. None of it exists. Your memories, your past experiences are only there because you remember them, because you're multi-dimensional. I am is not this ego, not this body. We exist outside of all of it, and we've had other lives and we will have, you know, I can't say what I know was gonna be next, but something's gonna be next, because energy can never be destroyed. We can die, but we can change. We can only shift from one state to another. Energy can never be destroyed. That's the law, third law of thermodynamics. So the point I'm trying to make is you can inject new memories into your past, which doesn't really exist, but I have no other word for it. So in the storehouse of your memory, you can add a new memory by saying that I remember when, and then you add any limitation that you are currently going through and you would like to change it. So you could say, I remember when I was seeking for love. That implies that you have love right now. You are no longer seeking. You could say, I remember when I was looking for so many house listings and looking everywhere, but now you are not. I remember when Naval Gardner gives an example of some grandpa. I'm not sure if it was his grandpa or was he was just narrating a story from some person, where he says there was this grandpa of someone, and he had this habit of there was an empty plot and there was nothing on it, and he would look at it and paint a beautiful word picture of, like, there's a beautiful mansion there or whatever, right? He would give it all sorts of details and see it in his mind's eye that it is there, even though the plot is empty. And he's applying the technique that I remember when this plot was empty, and now it has this beautiful mansion or this or that or the other. So you see, injecting a new memory into your storehouse of memory. And since all memories are just imaginal acts and just assumptions, it works exactly the same way as the law of assumption. So try it. It's very easy in my opinion. It leaves a lot of generality and it kind of gets you into the feeling of the wish fulfilled immediately. Like somebody is, again, for the love. Like I remember when I was seeking so hard, trying to manifest my ASPI, and now I have them, right? So immediately you get into the feeling that you have something. And then don't let I thoughts of your ego tell you that, oh, it's not real. Well, none of it is real. The whole life experience is unexplainable to this day and probably will never be explained objectively. Spiritually, it can all be explained, but objectively, you cannot explain any of this. Nobody can. And so, it's a magical world. It's a dream world in the mind of God, and you are a magical being, your real self, that is the Spirit of God within. So, always pivot towards that. And your I is just a figment of your imagination, but you believe in it because it's always there and it's kind of brainwashing you. So notice it, but don't bother with it, right? Do nothing. Whenever it says something, do nothing. Just get out of your own way and just let the fulfillment overtake you. Once you get out of your way, it's just natural for you to just feel blissful all the time, because it's the ego that keeps saying, oh, you shouldn't, there are so many bills, you need to do this, that, nothing is accomplished, you haven't done this and your life is ruined. See, who says all that? But how much of is it true? Honestly think about it. How much of it is true? Hardly any of it. It's just assumptions. It's fearful assumptions. Fear is the opposite of faith. So why not go all in with your vision? Why not go all in with I am and see what happens? And I know I'm speaking from experience. Neville says he speaks from experience, that when you trust in I am, all that you want appears. And experience is the best convincer. So I guess this is it for this video. Until next time, bye-bye.